May 15, 1886. A quiet gallery in Paris. The final Impressionist exhibition is underway. The room is full of light, colour and movement, the signature blur of Monet and Renoir. But then, people stop. One painting has them frozen. It doesn't shimmer. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't move. It's still. Unnervingly still. A woman in white stands stiffly by the water. A man lounges on the grass. A nurse sits beside a baby. A pet monkey walks on a leash. The trees are too perfect. The shadows fall just right. It's not a painting of a moment. It's a painting of a system. The artist, Seurat. The painting, a Sunday afternoon on the island of Grande. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, and that's because there's never been anything like it. This wasn't just a painting, it was a break. From everything. From Impressionism, from tradition, from what art was supposed to be. Because while everyone else was chasing spontaneity, Seurat was doing something else. Something colder, something stranger, something new. And with this one painting, he might have sparked the very beginning of the avant-garde. And yet, what exactly were they looking at? This wasn't a fleeting moment of light on water or a sun-dappled picnic caught in motion. No, this was something else entirely. A painting that didn't ask to be felt. It demanded to be studied. You didn't glance at it and move on. You stared. You squinted. You tried to make sense of it. Because a Sunday afternoon on the island of Grande doesn't pull you in with charm. It confronts you with control. Every inch of it is measured, precise, from the crisp silhouettes to the shadows that fall like blueprints. And the scale? Absolutely massive. Over 2 meters tall, over 3 meters wide. It occupies the whole wall. This was Seurat's calculated rebellion. While the rest of the Impressionists captured fleeting moments of life, Seurat froze it, locked it in place, and then dissected it like a scientist under a microscope. The setting seems simple enough. A sunny day along the Seine, families strolling, ladies with parasols, a dog sniffing the grass. The whole scene should feel familiar, even comforting. But it doesn't. Something's off. There's a tension beneath the quiet, a sense that everyone is posing, not living, that the joy is orchestrated, that the peace is artificial. This isn't just a scene, it's a system, a code, and Seurat was its engineer. So now, let's look closer, not just at the painting, but at what exactly Seurat put in it. Who these people are, what they're doing, and why this bright, peaceful image somehow feels like a dream you don't quite trust. Because understanding this painting starts with recognizing the performance, the illusion of leisure, constructed dot by dot. That's the trick. What looks like a breezy afternoon is actually a visual machine. Every figure calibrated, every shadow engineered. And in building that machine, Georges Seurat wasn't just showing us a park, he was showing us a new way to see. He was breaking from Impressionism. To understand how radical this was, you have to understand what came before it. Impressionism was rebellion. It was paint slashed across canvas with urgency and instinct. It was light captured in real time, colours vibrating, brushstrokes alive. Monet's water lilies Renoir's dancers, Degas' ballerinas mid-pirouette. These artists weren't trying to perfect the world, they were trying to feel it. And then Seurat walked in, with a ruler. While the Impressionists painted the passing moment, Seurat painted something permanent. Not emotion, not atmosphere, structure. His work wasn't about spontaneity, it was about control, precision, science. And that wasn't just a shift in technique, it was a shift in philosophy. He took everything that made Impressionism thrilling, the chaos, the movement, the energy, and froze it, stripped it of feeling, then rebuilt it atom by atom in pure logic. You can almost hear the other artists whispering, "What is he doing?" And he wasn't joining the Impressionist party, he was quietly stepping out the back door and starting his own movement. It was the birth of neo-impressionism. Seurat called it chromoluminerism. Others called it pointillism, but history gave it a cleaner name, neo-impressionism. And it wasn't just a remix of Impressionism, it was a counterstrike. Neo-impressionism took colour theory, optical science, and an obsessive attention to geometry and turned them into an ideology. Seurat wasn't brushing colours onto canvas, he was placing tiny separate dots of pigment in strategic positions, banking on your eyes to mix them for you. The brushstroke was no longer an expression of the soul, it was a mathematical tool. And that changes everything. Gone was the painter as a poet, now the painter was a technician, an architect, a scientist of vision. This wasn't about raw emotion anymore. This was about constructing something bulletproof, something immune to time. Because when Seurat painted Le Grande, he wasn't trying to say this is what Sunday looks like. He was saying this is what Sunday is according to optics, balance and logic. In short, this was the start of the avant-garde. And make no mistake, there is critique buried under that calm exterior. Look closer. Every figure is isolated. No one is talking. No one is connecting. These people aren't relaxing. They're performing relaxation. Posing, posturing, holding themselves like paper dolls. The more you look, the stranger it gets. A woman stands perfectly upright, her face blank beneath a parasol. A man lounges stiffly on the grass, his hat casting a sharp shadow. The nurse and child sit motionless, locked in their roles. And then there's the monkey on a leash. A bizarre, almost mocking detail tossed into a scene that otherwise begs for order. Is it a joke? A symbol? A disruption? That's the genius. Seurat gives you the stage, but doesn't hand you the script. He's offering up a frozen world, but challenging you to melt it, to decode it, to realise that this isn't a celebration of leisure, it's a commentary on it. A snapshot of bourgeois society at its most rigid and rehearsed. Seurat's figures don't live in the moment, they conform to it. And that cool detachment is what places this painting not just in a park in 1886, but right at the edge of modernity. Before Picasso deconstructed faces, before Duchamp flicked a urinal upside down, before Matisse turned colours into language, Seurat laid the foundation. He didn't want you to feel the painting, he wanted you to analyse it. And now that we've seen how it shattered Impressionism, let's talk about the ghosts inside it. Because for all its structure and control, there's still something uncanny. And maybe that's the point. Seurat built Le Grand Jatte like an engineer, but what he ended up with feels more like a psychological experiment. Something just under the surface is off. Not loud, not obvious, but definitely there. Start with the spacing. No one's really interacting. Each figure is isolated, living in their own invisible box. Even the people sitting together feel miles apart. It's not just physical distance, it's emotional. Seurat has rendered a society not connected, but compartmentalised. There's a term in art theory for this feeling: psychic distance, when a composition creates emotional detachment through careful placement and calculated expressions. That's exactly what's happening here. The painting is less about people being together and more about people being next to each other, alone. Which is wild, considering the scene. It's a park. It's Sunday. It should be full of life. But what Seurat gives us is closer to a surveillance feed. Look again and you'll see it. Everyone's back is turned. Out of the 48 human figures in the painting, only a handful face the viewer, and those that do don't meet your gaze. Their eyes drift off or stare blankly. It's like they're being watched, but don't know by who. Or maybe they do and don't care. And here's a theory that'll mess with you. Some art historians think Le Grand Jatte isn't just about leisure, it's about conformity. And not just societal, but technological. Think about it. This was painted in the 1880s. The second industrial revolution was in full swing. Urban planning was reorganising cities, work weeks were standardised, trains dictated schedules, people were beginning to live on rails, literally and figuratively. And Seurat? He paints them like clockwork, like variables in a program. His dots, his perfect geometry, it's not just technique, it's commentary. This isn't just Sunday in the park, it's modern life, stripped of randomness. Even the shadows are eerily disciplined, calculated to fall with mechanical precision. That's not sunlight, that's algorithm. And then there's the dog sniffing the grass, the child in the bonnet, the monkey. You start asking yourself, who's real in this scene and who's a decoy? Because once you notice the emotional sterility, the painting starts to feel less like a celebration of leisure and more like a simulation of it. A world where everything has its place, where freedom is a pose, where sunlight is artificial. That's the real ghost in the frame. Not a scream, not a spectre, but the creeping sense that nothing here is alive. And that, maybe, that's what Seurat was trying to show us all along. So what does Le Grand Jatte really tell us? It's not just a quiet moment in a park, frozen in time. It's a warning, a reflection of the new world Seurat was witnessing. One that was becoming increasingly organised, methodical, and well, less alive. In a way, Seurat was showing us the ghost in the machine before anyone even thought to call it that. It's not just the painting itself that's strange, it's the world it mirrors. And maybe in that stillness, Seurat wanted to capture a truth about modern life we've only just begun to understand. Sometimes, the more we try to organise and control, the more we lose touch with what makes us human. So, next time you find yourself walking through a crowd or standing in a perfectly ordered space, ask yourself, is this freedom? Or is this just another way to sit still, with no one really looking at anyone else? If you're still thinking about Le Grand Jatte, and you should be, remember, Seurat didn't just paint a moment, he painted a whole philosophy. A world where we've all got our place, but we're all just waiting to move. What do you think? Is Seurat's vision one we're still living in today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this explanation of Le Grand Jatte fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got more art, more history, and more mysteries coming your way, so hit that bell to stay in the loop. Thanks for watching, keep questioning, and keep seeing the world in ways others might miss.